They work together at a Middle Eastern fast food joint and live together on East 10th Street in Midwood. Now, 19-year-old Akror Saeed Akhmatov and 24-year-old Abdurasul Jurabayev are together behind bars, accused in a terror case. The FBI first took note of the men as they posted pro-jihad messages on a website affiliated with this Facebook page. One message read, "To shoot Obama and then get shot ourselves. Will it do? That will strike fear in the hearts of infidels."
Continuing the fight to dig out the terrorists in our midst. Let's welcome to MidPoint political analyst and principal at D.C. International Advisory, Christian Whiton joins us today. Chris, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks, Ed.
Let's get right to this now. 3 men accused of a plot to aid ISIS. They are nailed in Brooklyn. But what struck me immediately about this is these were not the most intelligent human beings in the world, because apparently one of them had been stuck on a website. This is where they found him, actually, asking about becoming a martyr and how actually to do it. So this again proves that there are people here who are being pulled in by ISIS. They're not sometimes the smartest or the, I guess you want to call them the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they are incredibly deadly in what they could have accomplished.
Right. Their evil makes up for a lack of intelligence and cunning. If you look at what they were trying to do, it's not a their primary goal was to travel and fight with ISIS, but their backup plan, if that wasn't possible, was to kill a cop, take the cop's gun, kill other cops, kill other people, not high-tech diabolical things like we might think of a big Al-Qaeda plot, but low-tech stuff that nonetheless will have a very significant impact if it's conducted. We've seen these lower-tech but nonetheless deadly attacks occur recently in Ottawa, in Sydney, in Paris, in Copenhagen. So it's a real threat. Also somewhat notable that they come from Central Asia, these alleged suspects coming from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, which is also somewhat reminiscent. It's the same broadly defined part of the world that the Boston bombers came from, which was Chechnya. So it's just a signal that the draw of ISIS is really quite broad.
With regard then to terror here in the country, I found it interesting that this statement, I thought, did not get as much attention as it should have gotten from James Comey, the director of the FBI, when he said in a speech in Washington, quote, "I have homegrown violent extremist investigations in every single state," unquote. That is frightening, but I think it also lends credence then to how deep these investigations have to go and how much we need coordination not only of the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, and local law enforcement.
I think so, and if you look back to last year, I think we can all agree that while it's important Congress keep tabs on and control of and be a check to the collection of intelligence domestically, it nonetheless is critical to protecting and to stopping terrorists before they are actually able to conduct strikes here in the U.S. or to migrate and be part of the growing caliphate over in the Middle East. So when it comes to electronic surveillance, when it comes to our police being able to work with Muslim leaders, it's controversial in New York, but the New York police don't just confine themselves, or at least in the past have not just confined themselves to dealing with leaders, people in mosques within the city, but more broadly, there's been an attempt by liberals to rein that in, and I think we just have to sort of, remember there is a global jihad going on here, and we need the policies and resources to track these people. And also, this may be a time to take a look at what we're asking people who are immigrating to the United States. We should probably start screening them explicitly for Islamist tendencies.
Chris, about a minute before I have to go, but let me ask this. You mentioned New York City and the fact that they are so on the case and they use so much of their resources to look for these people since 1993 and beyond. Are we looking at a model, and that's going to become, and that should be the model then for major cities, even medium-sized cities across America?
I think it is important to have a relationship. The key to fighting this fight ideologically is to make it unacceptable for Muslims to want Islamism, to want the unification of mosque and state. And, some of our greatest ideological allies in the Cold War against the communists were actually socialists, and we need to enlist Muslims in this. So we need to stop accepting groups like CAIR, the Council of American Islamic Relations, which is pro-Islamist, and really try and work with Muslims and have it become like that, so that Islamism is like racism, just something that's completely unacceptable within the Muslim community.
Another wake-up call. We seem to get them daily anymore here in America. Chris Whiton, thanks so much for joining us, my friend. We'll talk again real soon.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Now, the American Homeland Security effort appears to be on the brink in Washington, and especially what happened here in Brooklyn. It's going to put some pressure on Republicans. Also, a governor may indeed have his say on what happens inside the Beltway very soon, because he may decide to make the run for president. And it's not the one you're thinking. Governor George Pataki, the former leader of the state of New York, joins us when we return right here on MidPoint.